8:02 on a beautiful start to a Friday morning down there in Central Florida. It is beautiful skies, but those temperatures are going to be getting warm. Excuse the harsh lighting. This is what you get in a hotel room, but as long as you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. And let's just roll right along. Let's take a live look outside on a beautiful Friday morning. Yeah, Port Canaveral looking good, a mix of clouds and sunshine. It's already a warm start to the day, but it's a beautiful one. That sun is shining bright. Let's take a live look at our first warning Doppler radar. Nothing to see whatsoever. So temperatures out the door, 81 in Orlando right now. It's 79 in Ocala. We're sitting at 79 degrees in Palm Coast and about 82 degrees in Melbourne. So nice warm temperatures across Central Florida, but oh, do those temperatures continue to climb. Look at where we are headed today with a west wind, 97 degrees. That is the actual forecast for Orlando today, 97 degrees. Rain chances are going to be fairly subdued. This southwest wind to west wind is really going to just crank things up. Janet says 97. Yeah, 100% 97. And there's something kind of interesting here that's in play as well. It's not just hot, but it's hot enough that we have advisories. So let's just take a look around Central Florida. Not only are there heat advisories posted for Marion, Sumter, and Polk counties, but there are excessive heat warnings posted for Flagler and Putnam counties. Now, a couple of things. The chunk that does not have advisories is under the jurisdiction, I promise I haven't been drinking, the jurisdiction of the National Weather Service office in Melbourne. And according to their calculations, the Orlando Metro, kind of the I-4 corridor there, does not meet the criteria for any kind of heat advisories. Wouldn't surprise me if anything gets posted later. But Flagler County and Putnam County are under the Jacksonville jurisdiction. That's why you've got the excessive heat warning. You meet their criteria. And the Tampa National Weather Service has issued those advisories as well for Sumter and Polk counties. Either way, people, it is going to get hot today. Here's a look at the high temperature map around Central Florida. These are not feels like temperatures, okay? These are kind of the neighborhood by neighborhood temperatures. Nah, man, 96 in Ocala, 93 degrees in Titusville. So it's going to be a scorcher of a day. If you've got plans to be outside today, you've got to take it easy. Now, I got a fun Nastygram email yesterday from a viewer talking to us about stopping hyping heat. And I always laugh when I get something like that because back in my day, it was still this hot, but we had no air conditioning. Cool, good for you. It's also our job as meteorologists to warn about these things. So, to that random viewer, if you're watching Coffee Talk today, we will not stop. And if you were watching West 2 News Sunrise this morning, you noticed as well, we will not stop. So yay, good times. Thanks for being so sweet and spreading that sunshine. I'll never forget, and I say this sometimes, my friend down in South Florida who died of heat stroke, that happens. And years ago, back when we didn't have air conditioning in our cars, we also didn't have an understanding of heat and humidity and how this plays out. So there you go. So it's going to be hot today. That much we know. In terms of the forecast the next couple of days, take a look at the 7-day forecast here. And I just want to jump ahead to this at least to give you an idea. Notice today is kind of that peak heat. The rain chances are going to start to climb a little bit, and we'll start to see those high temperatures drop. So today is going to be the peak heating around Central Florida, which means if you've got plans this weekend, because everybody's working for the weekend, you know that, it's still hot. It still feels like the triple digits, but we're working in some cooling thunderstorms, which will help you out. And good gravy, are we going to need it on a day like this, in a weather scenario like this? It is pool weather. It is beach weather to the absolute umpteenth degree. Now, that said, let's just take a look at the forecast today, the record highs. Okay. Where do we compare with record highs? In Orlando, we're looking at 96 or 97. Um, depending on if you're in the city or if you're down near the airport. So the record set back in 1892 is 98. We're absolutely going to be in the ballpark of records today in Orlando. Sanford, 1986. You're going to be within a degree of a record there. Leesburg, you're going to be within a few degrees of a record there. Hopefully Daytona Beach and Melbourne don't get to 97 and 99, but we're going to be within that. And another thing worthy of note, as of yesterday, we are at the highest average high temperature in Central Florida. 92.2 is our average high temperature. That's the highest point. That goes all the way through August 1st or 2nd. Then the averages start to come down just a little bit. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the feels like temperatures around Central Florida. Okay. Now, we don't make this up. Just so that you know, back in my day, people didn't make this up. That's not the way it works. The feels like temperatures were put together by an incredible, brilliant mind back in the 1970s in the meteorological world. And if I showed you the mathematical equation, you'd understand that it isn't a bunch of gobbledygook. That is the heat index formula. Now, am I smart enough to do that? No. Am I smart enough to let a computer do it for me? Yes. So let's talk about the heat index, or as we will say, the feels like temperatures, okay? And let's start in Orlando. Today, the feels like temperature will fall just shy of that heat advisory criteria. The heat advisory criteria is at any point in time, does that feels like temperature or heat index hit 108? So in Orlando, we'll be right on the cusp, but I think we're going to fall just short of it. What about elsewhere? Daytona Beach, my friends, heading to the beach, thankfully not quite that bad. 105 is going to be your peak feels like temperature today. In Leesburg, it's going to be a scorcher, 105, and staying in the triple digits for a good part of the day today. Melbourne, it's going to feel like 108. Now that's where it's interesting, because the National Weather Service, based on this modeling, would probably need to go ahead and issue a heat advisory, but it all depends on what they're seeing and what they're forecasting. Remember, WESH 2 does not issue advisories. It's the National Weather Service offices in Melbourne, Jacksonville, and Tampa, and they do a heck of a job. So it just kind of depends on what their criteria is being met according to their computer models and things like that. But either way, Melbourne, scorcher of a day. Scorcher of a day. Let's head over to Ocala. You are under that heat advisory. 112 is how it's going to feel. I need to adjust a clipping mask here, but I can do that later. It's kind of getting a little cut off there, but 112, you're into the danger zone. And that's not just to be cheesy and cheeky. Same thing for us in Palm Coast. Your feels like temperature gets to 113. That's why you're under that extreme heat warning today, my friends. Particularly in our northern spots, that heat bubble is absolutely there. This is talking about dangerous heat. And then into Sanford, I don't think it's going to be quite as bad, though saying that and having 107 doesn't give you much relief, at least. Now, over the next couple of days, look at where our heat index, our feels like temperatures go. They kind of steady out through today, tomorrow, and Sunday, and then they come down a little bit into Monday and into Tuesday. So there's definitely some extreme heat around Central Florida. Excessive heat warning posted for Putnam and Flagler counties. Okay? Any questions about the heat before we move on? Debbie says, trolls will troll, Florida will Florida. That is wisdom right there. I love it. 100% correct. Taylor says, no AC in my car, just hot, humid air moving around. You feel like you're drowning. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. Karen says, thank you for keeping us safe from the heat. Well, I'm not keeping you safe. I don't want to make sure you're aware of it, though. Long time ago, we didn't have social media telling us how many people have died from heat stroke either. Exactly. Science is one of those things that it should always be moving forward. So We need to understand that and work with that. And that's okay. People are going to complain. You know, it's just like a stinky armpit. Everybody's got them. But you know what you can do? You can use the deodorant. So moving right along, right? Looking at me goofy. It's okay. David, good morning. Annie, good morning. What's on the agenda today? Ah, yes. So it's it's chilly outside. Current temperature. We're in Bar Harbor, which if you've never been, it's adorable, but it's a hike. It is 60 degrees at the Bar Harbor Airport with a dew point of 60. Visibility is at a quarter mile, so it's foggy outside. We're going to kind of go around. High today. Do I want to make y'all jealous? I don't mean to. High today. I think I'm going to need the pullover today. 74 is the high. Yeah, 74 is the high. So it's going to be cloudy and a little showery today. Yeah, I'm having math PTSD. Yeah, 100% agreed. Yeah. So listen, it's going to be a hot day. It's going to be a hot day. Don says, yuck, heading to Ocala today. Just take it easy and you'll be good to go. All right? Yeah, stay inside with the air conditioning, hop into the pool, all of that. All right? Lisa, do you think my flight will be affected in Tampa Sunday to Cincinnati at 10 a.m.? You should be all right. Morning flights this time of year are fine. Yeah, you're fine. Frank says I didn't have AC in my first two cars. Right. You know, here's the deal. If there's one reason that we get into talking about all of these heat advisories, it's not to tell us that it's like you're going to explode or self-destruct. It's to let you know, hey, today's going to be a particularly hot day. This isn't hype. This is just letting you know, hey, today's going to be a particularly hot day. Okay, cool. Thanks. Moving on. Right? That's all. Maybe you don't mow in the peak of heating, that sort of thing. Right? That's all. Okay, enough about that. Any other questions about it? Otherwise, we can move on to the tropics, see what's doing there. We've got a couple of areas that we're watching. Nothing, thankfully, threatening, and that's what I would want. Out to the tropics. First off, we've got Tropical Storm Don still out there, still in basically the same spot. There it is. There's the Azores on the top right corner of your screen, and there's Don. Looking pretty decent on satellite, got to tell you. Winds are at 50 miles an hour. It's not in a position where you can fly a recon aircraft. It's out in the North Atlantic, and certainly due to range issues, that's just not a thing. But it's there. Now, here's the satellite, or excuse me, the forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. Expected to remain a tropical storm through the weekend, and then coming in near the Canadian Maritimes, weakening to a remnant low. I just think it's funny because that thing is going to be passing right by where we are, well offshore. But nevertheless, tropical system up this way. So Tropical Storm Don just kind of doing its thing, racking up ace points, bothering the shipping lanes, and nothing more. So there's that. Elizabeth says, I just got that WESH notification about the invest. Yep, there's that too. That's the next area that we're watching. So let's take a look at it, okay? This is the satellite imagery for Invest 95. Now, I got to tell you, it's not looking great at all. That's the kind of forecast motion of it over the next couple of days' time. Medium 40% likelihood that this becomes something. Tropical depression could form over the next couple of days' time as it works toward the Caribbean. Now, as far as spaghetti models, oh, we love the term spaghetti, right? Computer models are taking it into an area we call the hurricane graveyard. It's working into the Caribbean, and there's certainly very warm water there, but it's trying to lift to the north, which means Puerto Rico, which means the Dominican Republic, which means Haiti, which means land and big terrain. And when you talk about big terrain, yeah. Tropical systems do not like big terrain. So there's that. Don is day drinking. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do out there in the North Atlantic to stay warm. So the computer models are looking favorable for us to not have to be bothered too much by it. Yeah. You like that, Anne Marie? I like that too. Yeah. So it's out there. Now, what do the global models say, right? Like, let's make sure, let's check in and see how it's looking. All right, so here's the global models. This is the GFS, and we'll pop up to the full Atlantic basin, okay? Rolling through time, you've got Don kind of on the top. There, that dot right where it says current temp 82, that dot there, that white dot is this thing. Not trying to intensify it much. You can see this is, what is this? This is 21Z. So that's like what, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, July 25th, approaching the Caribbean islands, getting into the Caribbean. We can zoom in a little bit here. All right, so there you go. Moving right forward into the Caribbean. That's the 27th of July, and then kind of weakening. So maybe we get a little low rider, a little westward moving system, nothing big or scary, back to the big basin view afterward. Nothing very big, nothing very organized. Nice little storm system moving through the Great Lakes there. Ooh, when is that? That's August 2nd. Super glad we're not up here during that time frame, Jeannie. That weather would be crummy. They're going to get another big flooding event. Oh, God. Upstate New York, this whole area is going to get a big flooding event if this model plays out. And then rolling through, tropics remaining fairly quiet. Big ridge of high pressure out there. But remember, just because things are nice and quiet through this time frame does not mean that it stays that way, as we learned last year in hurricane season, where we basically shut everything off and then turned everything back on. And I think that come late, mid to late August, I think is when things are going to ramp back up. We just moved through our busy stretch of the weather pattern, and there wasn't much, and that was all thanks to that Saharan dust, which is still very much playing out across Central Florida. But that next version of all of this, that next run of the active window of the pattern, I don't think the Saharan dust is going to be around. And because of that, I think that we're going to get quite busy. So good times. Good times. Catherine, my outdoor thermometer said 100 at 5 p.m. last night. Alexa said 95 unreal. Yeah, it's big heat. It's big heat. So that's what we're looking at. Thankfully, no big concerns from the tropics. We've got rising thunderstorm chances the next couple of days, which will help to bring down those temperatures. But today, 96, 97, just kind of depends on exactly where you are. Yeah. Vanessa says, I never thought I'd be cheering for dust. Yeah, I mean, tropically speaking, I'm always for it. Elizabeth, does Nicole not happen all year? No, Nicole, there's another cycle for Nicole. The next version of Nicole, we just went through it, and it was not anything big. There was a lot of stable air in place, but there was a little piece of energy there. But yeah, when it comes to the next version of Nicole, it's early September if memory serves. September 8th through the 14th. And on the West Coast, the next part of the active weather pattern is going to be August 30th through September 5th. I will tell you, there's a model called the CFS. It's a really long range model. And it was showing around August 21st-ish, it was showing a tropical thing around the Carolinas. So we're starting to get into the range for those super long range models, and they're starting to show the pieces. So I would think that late August, early September timeframe, things are really going to get going today. Really going to get going. All right? Yeah. Keep it away from November. I don't want another hurricane for my birthday. I'll do, good morning. I'll do everything I can to do that. As long as you know I don't have control over these sorts of things. Yeah. All right. That's all we got, people. That's all we got. Listen, have a great day. Stay cool. On a day like today, understand, yes, we get heat in Central Florida. Today's going to be a pretty significantly hot, humid day. So just take it easy. I beg you. I beg you, please. All right? I hope you have a great one. Thank you so much for hanging out. Eliza says you seem quiet and serious. Yeah, I was up until, you know what I was doing? I'll tell you why I'm quiet and serious. I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning on a rocking chair outside, hanging out. I'm tired. That's what it is. Wasn't drink. I don't drink. So had 0 sips of alcohol. So I'm not like hungover. I could promise you that. I'm just, for a guy that goes to bed at like 9 o'clock, I loved it. It was lovely. But I'll tell you this much. My body is like, bro, you're not in college anymore. So, doing the best I can. But yeah, so that's and serious. I think I'm low on energy, but having a great time. So anyway, stay cool down there in Florida. I'm gonna keep my pullover on today because it's chilly up here. Have a great day. I will see you all for coffee talk later on tomorrow morning. Sound good? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.